43, Auburn University Marching Band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the Speed Metal Kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Sunday evening is here once again, and that means it's time for another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast, the flagship show of everything we do here at E2C Network. We're going to get into your 2 major Auburn topics and as well as catch you up on the rest of the Auburn news and Auburn potpourri, episode 160 heading your way right now. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart, at its core, you can always quantify and qualify, as I'm repeating myself here, the Auburn experience in Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in episode 160 of what we're going to be doing this evening here on the Auburn Experience. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Loomis, and I think my brain's not working this evening because of how chilly it is. I am wearing a sweater tonight, and my co-host, your favorite co-host of this show, let's be honest, is wearing what looks like an amazing Letterman's jacket of some type. And it's not, I know it's not technically, but it kind of looks like one, the old A on there with, it looks good, Austin. So welcome to the show, Styling and Profiling.
I didn't come close to lettering in anything at Auburn, much less sports. Yeah, thanks, War Eagle, to you, War Eagle, to our viewers and listeners. It is freezing cold. It's been cold across the deep South this weekend. And my goodness, I'm just glad to see your lights are on and there's not icicles coming from your nose.
There was a couple of days ago, maybe not from the nose, but just all around here. And certainly it makes me think, I know we've been talking about it for like weeks now on this show of the Auburn snow of last year, just reminiscing about that. And it made me very angry when we were here this week and we were predicted to get snow, at least some, not a substantial snow, but something on the ground. And I just said, you know what? I think I spent every bit of credit that I had of getting a good snow in Auburn last year, and I bet nothing's going to happen. And what happened? Basically, nothing happened. I mean, it snowed, but nothing stuck. Yeah. Literally, I'm going to here, shout out to AJ Richardson, who you hear frequently and see frequently on our content here. He lives probably 30-ish minutes. We'll say 45 if you want to argue with me about it. Literally, you look at his pictures and any pictures that I might have taken, and it's like a winter wonderland compared to what we have. So I'm a little bitter. So that's why AJ is not on the show anymore right now, because I'm mad at him because he gets the snow and I don't. But anyway, sorry. I'm on snow rants like the last 3 episodes, and I don't know why. I guess I'm just a bitter old man who wants it to snow, and it just doesn't happen.
Bitter old men. That's all we are these days. Like you said, got to see some flurries. I was actually one of the few people that probably drove north this weekend. So I saw more flurries than I anticipated.
Yeah.
But like you said, nothing to stick.
Well, I saw a few of our Auburn brethren get stuck on their way up to Knoxville and stuff, because they traveled up there. I saw a few posts about that of all the snow up there. So it may not have snowed in Auburn, but it affected something about Auburn. And there was some talk, maybe even if the Tennessee game might have to be adjusted or things like that.
Yeah.
At least little rumors started circulating, but maybe we wished it had at this point. But
that's right.
We'll get there and talk about that. Before we jump into Auburn potpourri, we always want to kind of talk about a few other important things here. Pretty significant date here, Austin, that just today, this Sunday that we're doing this show.
Yeah, no kidding. 170 years of Auburn University. If that hadn't happened, we would not have a show right now. Likely, I guess we could talk about a small town in Alabama, but
it just be the experience.
Probably not as many things to fill time with. But yeah, big week or big day. And 170 years of Auburn University or East Alabama Male College or API, however you want to call it. And yeah, happy anniversary to them. I've actually been wondering this for just a few weeks, not enough to like actually look it up. I was like, is our episode going to catch up like to in time of the birthday? And not quite. We were 10 episodes off, but we'll pass it soon, I guess.
If we hadn't missed a few episodes,
that's
maybe,
true. That's
maybe
true.
I don't know that we've missed that many episodes, 10, because we're 160, 170 for them.
That'd have to be like 10 over like a couple years. We haven't missed too many.
Nah, it hadn't been that many, but it's close enough. And obviously 170 years of Auburn is just, a wonderful thing. Obviously it's given you and me both so much. It's more than just the university. Certainly this anniversary is about the university itself, and that's the central figure that kind of brings all this together. But as we talk about in this show, this is about the Auburn experience, the sports, the culture, the family, all of it. And it has those central focal points. The university, 170 years of it is a beautiful thing. And happy that we're still celebrating that and having that little look back. I enjoy looking at Clint Richardson, who runs that Auburn
History
Today website that he has, and certainly you can go back and see some great moments, and that was listed on there today. Man, 170 years, it just feels like yesterday, doesn't it? I mean, I know we look old, but
Joel, just 5 years away from maybe a big celebration. 175 feels like a good number.
What would they do for 175 years of Auburn? What would you do other than create a really cool logo? I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a logo. I don't remember 20 years ago, but I would imagine there was a decent celebration of 150 years in 2006. I don't remember. I don't think I would have paid attention to that too much at my wee 10 years old. Do you remember anything there, old man?
I'm not that old, but no, I don't remember much about that. But 175.
You were doing these podcasts with the back then, weren't you?
Yes, thank you. You just keep just drive the knife in a little bit more. Why don't you? Okay,
that's right. Hopefully, we're both doing episodes when we get to 200.
That would be really cool. That's a long time. Austin, are you committing to another?
That's double my age.
I'm like, come on now.
It's episode 2083. Happy 200 years, Auburn.
So do you know I'm about to reference here our favorite radio show? They had a segment of the old rated broadcaster. Well, it's another roller coaster ride again. Auburn fired another coach. Here we go. Didn't have to be this.
I knew it. I was about to say it. I knew it.
30 years later, I won't let it die for 30 years. All right. Anyway, what a oh man.
What a great start.
Let me try to reel us back in here. Great anniversaries also this week, earlier in the week. If you know this name, D Ford, I'm not talking about the football player, although that is a special Auburn person as well. I don't know that we'll do this every year, but I love this lady so much. If you know D Ford, her story of how she became an Auburn fan, if you don't know it, you're missing out. You can, a little quick plug here, you can go listen to the Auburn Roots podcast. She's episode 1. She tells how she became an Auburn fan. It's one of the most unique, and I still think quintessential Auburn stories about how it doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, what your background is, whether or not you're even an alumni. The Auburn family is much more than just alumni, sports figures, things like that. It's really cool. So she celebrated this past week 12 years since a fateful day when a case of mistaken identity brought her into the Auburn family. And now I would argue probably one of the preeminent people in the Auburn family.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And we've gotten to see a lot of her over the last year. You and I, like personally, I feel like we've gotten to see and talk to her a lot lately. She has become near and dear to my family, especially. She loves my kids, has brought them gifts from her hometown, and just a very sweet lady. And I don't think it's too long she's coming back. I want to say she posted, or maybe I'm thinking of when she just came. She just came for Iron Bowl. I'm thinking of when she just came.
But hey, listen.
But she makes appearances. She is making it more frequent. And we can't wait to see her again soon. And so she was on our 100th episode.
100th episode, yeah.
100th episode.
How did I forget about that?
Made a special appearance, so we can't wait to have her back on again, and see her back on the plane. So she's been trying to make, like, not just about football. Like, she made sure she was here for some basketball games one time, and so maybe she'll pop up for baseball or softball or something like that.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with more D Ford, either one, but especially our favorite British lady. We love us D Ford, and we love her story, and it's a beautiful thing to
Absolutely
help encapsulate the Auburn experience, to tie everything all together.
So
all right,
glad you're here, D.
Exactly. Let's get rolling with some potpourri stuff. We have a lot to cover. I am going to start us off on a somber note, though, but it is something that is pretty recent right now, and I think is well worth discussing. Obviously, we do podcasting here, and there are 1,000 ways that you can get your Auburn coverage, and whether that be the traditional ways of old or the way we all do things currently. But there have been certain figures that have transcended a lot of those times. And one of those is by the name of Philip Marshall. And unfortunately, this week, I think from what I understand, a little bit unexpectedly, he passed away. And if you know who Philip Marshall is, he is a longtime reporter around the Auburn space. I think I've got this correct. The Decatur Daily, the Montgomery Advertiser, Huntsville Times, or whatever the one is up there. And then, more recently and more what people are aware of, being part of Auburn 24/7, Auburn Undercover, as it was known in its first iterations, and all their mergers that they've all been through and stuff, but been a mainstay in the Auburn coverage for years. And did not have this on my bingo card this week, that this would be something we've been unfortunately hearing. So unfortunately, it's just sad news to start off the show tonight, but we want to acknowledge that, as always. I know sometimes it sounds cliche, but I'm not even a thoughts and prayers guy. I'm a prayers guy. I believe in the power of prayer for his family, his loved ones. And Philip Marshall will certainly be missed as a figure on the Plains.
Yeah, absolutely. Really hard news this week to hear. I've grown up reading, like many, and many older than I am, have grown up reading Philip Marshall's content and columns, and just has a very unique way of storytelling and sharing news of what goes on in and around Auburn, especially Auburn athletics. So back in the day, a long time ago, for our E2C lifers, I used to write and just enjoyed it a lot, and just really looked to Philip Marshall to see how those stories were kind of written and created and things like that. And think he has been one of the best for a long time, and definitely a mainstay around Auburn athletics and the Auburn media circuit. So very sad to hear. And like Kyle said, and want to echo, just prayers to him and his family. I hate to hear it, but I don't think it was expected. And so hate that, and certainly wish the best for him and his family.
And same goes to all his colleagues out there as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're affected by this as well. And you can see some of their touching tributes. So I'd highly recommend that you go check out some of his colleagues there over at 24/7 Sports, and see some of the things that they've written about him, carrying on some of his legacy there. So it was great to see the Auburn family once again, as expected, rally around someone that is, whether it's extended out Auburn family or just kind of right there in the middle. It doesn't matter. You're part of the Auburn family, and they'll be there for each other when the times count. Let's move into some happier news, and this can almost be like a little bit of a Auburn mini pro segment. My boy Dylan Cardwell is having a time. He is just living the best life, I think, since he arrived here at Auburn. He's become the quintessential Auburn man. He went from being a role player to a star player on the team. He does not get drafted in the NBA, but quickly finds a home, and increasingly through his first season, through a two-way contract, has earned not only more playing time, staying on the roster with the Sacramento Kings, but now has earned, the official news this week, a legit full contract with the NBA, which I believe, that's I guess Janai had a full contract and is now still doing time with the G League and stuff like that. But that is such a, I don't want to say unique, but and not even why, I don't know what I would describe it as. It's such a special story, I think, for Auburn folks, because of how much they love Dylan Cardwell. This news, frankly, I'll be honest, Austin, you brought it to my attention. It slipped past me this week. I don't know how, because I've been paying attention to Dylan Cardwell stuff a lot lately.
Yeah.
Very happy for him.
Yeah, huge news, and really happened just this morning. I think there were some trades in the association that kind of paved the way for him to be able to have a full-on contract, and has certainly more than earned it. Has been able to start this year, has had career highs of his career, as in college and Auburn, or college and the pros here so far with the Kings, and has just absolutely become a fan favorite among those in Sacramento King fandom world. And so congratulations, Dylan. Like you said, so unique, but such a special story to see someone who has worked their tail off to make themselves what they are, and is having an absolute joy doing it. So congrats, Dylan. Congrats to you and your family, and hope we get to talk about more contracts in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll celebrate them anytime they come around. I just think, with the way that people saw Dylan when he first arrived here as just somebody that was brought in along with the rest of his class, didn't think
Sharif's add-on. That's literally what it sounded like. Yep.
You go from being the guy that helped secure Sharif Cooper. Let's just be honest. That's how people framed it as.
100%.
And then you become the quintessential Auburn man, and now are arguably the biggest story of that group. Very good group of Auburn players that went to the NBA together, whether that be through QA contracts, draft picks, whatever. Dylan Cardwell is living his best life as an Auburn person, extending into the pros now, and we are here for it, because I will be on Dylan Cardwell watch even more so for the coming months and stuff. I actually might, Austin, start tuning into the NBA for Sacramento Kings games more often because of this. And it kind of goes back to what you and I talk about. Bring Auburn and folks in, and Auburn people will flock to it. I think the Kings are about to see that.
I agree. I don't know how many Kings games you're going to get in Georgia, but
that's fair.
We can try. The only downside to this is now he's a full-on NBA player, so the likelihood of him coming back to Auburn, I guess, went out the window.
And you had to bring it down, didn't you?
Well, I'm just saying, maybe if we find the right attorney, we'll be okay.
Maybe so. Bring it all the way around this way. Congrats to Dylan. We're excited for you, and we'll keep on talking about you as much as we can here on the show. We'll bring it back down just a little bit again, but I think it's something we should always talk about and make people aware of. We talked with the Philip Marshall news, a little bit of other unfortunate news this week. Name you may be familiar with, if you should be familiar with, if you've been following Auburn men's golf, part of our championship team. He has been in the pro circus. That's Brendan Valdez. The unfortunate news this week, he was diagnosed with some form of cancer. I'm not going to speak on which one it is because I didn't find that out. But he is already seeking out treatment, has stepped away from playing on his portion of whatever that is in the PGA process, and plans to return. So it's a sad news, Austin, to hear that for one of our special people that won national championship with us, but maybe some encouragement as well too.
Yeah, absolutely. And news kind of came out of nowhere this week as well, and really sad news to hear, especially for a guy who has done a lot of charity events to help those who have been affected by such a terrible disease. And so I really hate to hear that, his pro career is halted, and his family is kind of adjusting to a new wave of life with him fighting that cancer. But certainly praying for him and his family that things can be rectified quickly, and that he can get back to doing what he loves and supporting his family. But the Auburn family certainly praying for Brendan, and such an iconic figure in that national championship run, as many were. But I think because he was the senior statesman, almost, it kind of falls under the wayside. But just did a phenomenal job and has represented Auburn very well so far being a pro. So just hope that he can get back up and going quickly, and praying the Lord has him in his hands closely.
Absolutely. Prayers to you, Brendan, and we'll continue to do that for you, and hopefully we'll see you back out there and further into the PGA Tour as soon as you possibly can. But take care of yourself right now. Continuing on in our pros segment here, it is Super Bowl week. Or are we allowed to say Super Bowl? I thought at one point you weren't even allowed to say
the big game, Kyle. Whatever. Don't get us sued, okay?
Y'all come on the suit if you want to. There ain't much here for you to get.
I don't know what you're going to take, but
take this. I guess this, I don't know. I can't even come up with what you could take. So there you go.
They're going to take your Auburn Santa.
The Super Bowl. Don't care. Auburn in the Super Bowl. We want to always talk about the guys that are in it. We did a little bit of this last week, but just for clarification point, Seahawks versus Patriots. Don't really love this, but no matter what, we knew we were going to have some Auburn folks on either side of this. Here are your participants for the Super Bowl. For the Seahawks players, we've got Derek Hall and Nehemiah Pritchett.
Nice.
On the Patriots side, we've got Carlton Davis. You should know that name. He is not only a big figure when he was here at Auburn, he is a excellent corner on multiple different teams in the NFL. And then you've also got coaching for the Seahawks, Josh Bynes. A little bit weird because I'm used to seeing him with the Ravens as a player.
Yeah.
And then Nico Thorpe, who played for the Seahawks, he's also been on staff there as well in some form of coaching position. So you pick which way you're going to go, I guess, if you, the viewers at home. But Austin, I mean, are you picking sides here? You got a bunch on one and one on the other. Where are we going?
That's what I was going to say. Look, the numbers favor the Seahawks, right? There's a lot. It's 4-1 here.
I think the likability favors the Seahawks.
That's where I was going next. Is the likability is the Seahawks. I don't. The Patriots. This is not the NFL Experience show, but the Patriots have had their run. The Seahawks have had their run too, sure, but the Patriots, I think, for just so long, have had the villain arc, and they've got new faces and young faces, and they seem fun. But I think the Seahawks, and truthfully, I just think the Seahawks are going to win.
Yeah.
But the Seahawks have the more Auburn guys, and so Carlton, I'm sorry, but I think we'll be pulling for the Seahawks over here. I pull for the commercials more than anything, but I pull for the Seahawks.
That's fair. I will celebrate whoever has success as individuals. I'd love to see Derek Hall certainly get one. But Carlton Davis has already gotten his once.
That's true.
The Buccaneers. So it helps me a little bit. Sorry, Carlton. But that's kind of how I'm making
Carlton.
peace. Yeah, that's how I'm making peace with it. But you guys pick who you want to support, but you got choices on both sides. Last little bit of pro talk here. It's been Senior Bowl week and other bowl weeks as well. The Shrine Bowl went on. Dylan Wade was in that. I think his team lost in that, just in case you wanted to know that. But Senior Bowl is the bigger of the post-college football things where people are trying to get into the NFL draft further. And two names were in the Senior Bowl for Auburn. That'd be offensive lineman Jeremiah Wright, who's been a mainstay here. And then you also had Kieran Crawford. And both of them had quite the, I won't say game, but week leading up to the Senior Bowl and in the game. Two highlights from both these guys. So I was happy to see that. Oftentimes I feel like we have these Senior Bowls, and I mean, maybe one Auburn player does something great in it, but both the guys, they made some headlines this week.
Both made names for themselves, and so much about the Senior Bowl is you are talking to, this is the draft, the combine before the combine, right? You were talking to scouts, you were trying to impress, and obviously these are guys who are very well established in who they are. They're the older players, they're in college, some of them been in college for 5-6 years. So you are impressing upon why you are a good fit and a good person for an organization as much as what you do on the field. And we already know the likability and the kind of guys Kieran and Jeremiah are, but man, they certainly stepped up on the field too to show it. And so good for them. We will be talking about where they get drafted. I have a really good feeling about that, where we'll see where they go in April, and maybe they'll be one of the guys we're talking about this time next year.
Yeah, if you also want to know what they did this week, first Jeremiah Wright blew up Alabama offensive lineman LT Overton, I think is his name.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a nice little clip to see. And then Kieran Crawford apparently is not happy still with Diego Pavia and came after him and just got a sack in the game. It was awesome to see.
Go
that.
for it.
Shout out to them. But also part of the going to the Senior Bowl, you hear from a lot of the head coaches that go down there to support their players. Yeah. Coach Galesh obviously didn't coach these guys, but he's down there to support them. And be a part of that and answered questions, talked a little bit about, most of the conversation, let's be honest, when they're down there is about their current team and with Coach Galesh, what's going on. We got word this week that he views the transfer portal class as being basically complete. In fact, they put out a graphic and a video this week pretty much indicating that, telling you, here's the class. He did clarify and say there may be one here or there, or somebody else getting implied, I thought, getting to stay a little bit longer. But there you have it, Austin. That's probably the big news from him at the Senior Bowl, that your transfer portal class is technically complete. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, he certainly didn't pigeonhole himself into a corner by saying that you never know, but certainly looks like with 34, 35 guys, something like crazy like that. Auburn's certainly done their due diligence on getting guys from the portal and trying to stack this class up. We talked about the spring dates coming up last week, and so it'll be here before we know it, before it's time to start putting it all together on the field.
Absolutely. So happy for our guys in the Senior Bowl, and happy to start getting to know these players in the transfer portal that came on in here to sign up for the all but 30, 40 of you, something.
Yeah.
Like that. So whole new team. Don't start that talk tonight, but happy to get to know the new ones here. Final bit of potpourri. It is a new season beginning, or at least a new session of a season, or a new half of a season. Equestrian takes a break in the middle of their season for the winter, technically, even though they're starting up right now when it's like the most coldest ever. And they went up to UT Martin, which, if you know where UT Martin is, that's like up in the armpit of Tennessee up there.
Yep.
I don't know if they got any bad stuff, but surely it was cold up there. And they're outside with these horses moving around. Auburn Equestrian, entered or left the fall portion of competition ranked number 1. So they start number 1. They defend their their ranking, I should say, with their first match beating UT Martin 11-8. They've got all this spring season left to go, with a lot of interesting and challenging SEC matchups coming up later down the line. We said they were hosting the SEC championship.
Pretty sure, yeah.
So a lot to look forward to, and it's just the start of the spring season, so good start for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's good to see them take care of business. And I don't remember UT Martin being one that we've played regularly.
They're there. I think we might hit them once a year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe there's an off year. You have to remember there's not that many. College equestrian is very limited. I mean, the SEC is 4 teams, so
right.
That's it. Everybody goes and everybody seeds and everybody has a shot at it. But usually the SEC, as you would expect, is pretty good in that. So exciting that Auburn's going to get to host that again this year.
Yeah, no, certainly. So good start to the spring year. And you'll see lots more wins from those ladies. So excited to see how they go. And that's one that, there's plenty of opportunities to get out there, like we've already talked about. And it's very easy and fun. So make sure get out there.
Yeah, excited to see how they do the rest of the spring season. All right, that's going to do it for Auburn Potpourri. Believe it or not, there was a ton of stuff we didn't have time to hit. But I would always, one little plug here, one segment we're trying to do a little bit for you all on the audio podcast only side is I'm doing the Ever to Podcast segment on Fridays now. A lot of these things that you'll hear a little bit more on in that, but just in quick fashion to catch you up. But these are some of the bigger stories of the week, just to give you a little programming note. Main topic, or first one tonight, main topic number 1, basketball week discussion. Certainly one maybe not as exciting as the last week that we had with the Florida win and things like that, at least for the men's side. And the women had a little bit this week of just schedule changes. We'll talk about that at the end. But let's talk about the men. Here's your summary of the week. Big win at home in the middle of this very challenging primarily road portion of the SEC competition for them. They beat Texas 88-82. 4 wins in a row at that point. They overcame a 14-point deficit. Hall with 30 points again. A couple other points I want to talk about there. Then the Tennessee game, a little bit frustrating, 77-69. Tennessee is a good team as well in the SEC. We're in this back and forth, I see, with a lot of our Auburn fandom of people kind of catastrophizing what this team is or isn't. This is I said after the Texas game, I felt like after I watched that game, I can solidly say this is a good basketball team. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't lose from this point forward and they don't have struggles. When you don't have great shooting nights on the road, you're going to lose games. Maybe not even struggle, but you're just going to lose games against teams that are especially going to start out shooting well like Tennessee did. So that's kind of my summary of the week. It's kind of a little waffly a week, but I am nowhere discouraged by what I saw against Tennessee, at least in the long term. Certainly in one game, it can be discouraging, but yeah, your takeaways from the week, whether you want to talk about things from Texas. I mean, there's some good stuff there, or just the Tennessee game. What do you want to do?
Well, certainly. I think you can look at both and see a lot of fortitude from both. When Texas comes out that hot as one of the worst 3-point shooting teams, and they come out that hot, I forgot about that. Auburn's moment. Just Auburn's moment that they average about like 7 a game, and in the first like 10 minutes they've hit 7, and it's just like they look unconscious. So, that to come back from that and really fight through that, especially at home with your crowd behind you, I thought that showed a lot. Obviously, you had Keyshawn Hall be who Keyshawn Hall is and just get buckets. And then, a different side of the coin with Tennessee, but just couldn't get over the hump. I thought you saw them get back in it a lot, like get it within 4, even 3, 5 or 6 times there in the second half, and then just couldn't get over the hump. And I don't really know if there's one thing to point to that why they couldn't get over the hump, but I think you could overall look at just it was a bad 3-point shooting night. Keyshawn Hall had like single digits for 70% of the game, and just never came to fruition on how they could pull off the upset in Knoxville. But overall, like you said, I nothing about this week changes for me in what I view this team. I'm certainly not saying they're a non-tournament team. I still think that they are very much in the mix in this league. They're middle of the pack right now, and have had 1 or 2 games away from being in the upper echelon. I don't think that they're an elite team, and I think we've been saying that since the season started on the show.
Yep.
They are not an elite team. They are not last year's team, but they are a good team, and they're finding themselves out more and more each week. Also, they went on the road to a premier team and lost by single digits and was never out of it.
Yeah.
In this conference, you take that every time you can. So you get a bye week resting up here to just get everybody across the board on the same page, whether it's health or their shots are off or whatever. You get them all back on the same page before a big one this upcoming weekend. And certainly I think it's a good time for Auburn to have that. Let's remember too, last week, Kyle and I talked about this. This was that stretch of games that Kyle and I said was going to be a very tough 5-game stretch. They'd won the first 3. They lost this one. And now there's 1 left. But you won 3 out of the 5, no matter what. I think you'd take that coming into SEC play.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to brag a little bit on this stat, tying a program record of only, and let me repeat that again, folks, only 3 turnovers in a basketball game for Auburn versus Texas. Now, I grant you, let's talk about context is important. If this is at home, certainly you'd hope you'd be a little bit more comfortable at home and have things like this. But for a 40-minute game, only 3 turnovers. That's it. That's impressive. And it's also impressive that's been an Achilles heel at time for this team is turnovers. So grant you all the context in that. I still was really excited. I kind of blew my mind. If you go back and watch the post-game stream, you're going to see me probably like, excuse me?
Yeah.
3 turnovers in a game is just unheard of for the most part. I mean, unless you're just like the greatest team ever. Maybe the Harlem Globetrotters never turn over the ball. Probably not, or at least they don't admit that they do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But to me, Austin, that's a big improvement.
Huge. And I think when you look at that on the offensive side, coupled it with, I think it was like the second half, 4 empty trips down the floor, or 85% they scored. So the offense became incredibly efficient in the second half, and you can build on that when guys are trusting what they're doing and guys are feeling confident. So, yes, we've all seen the game after the Texas game. We're not just harping on the positives, but that is a game, or that is a stat that you just don't see very often and shows what this team is capable of.
Oh yeah.
Especially at home. And Auburn's played on the road in premier places like they do every week in the league, and they've won some. A week ago we were all talking about going on the road in Gainesville and winning. You lose by 8 in Knoxville and had chances left and right. It still shows up as an L, but this team knows what they're capable of. One game is not going to alter the rest of the season.
Right. And I think that's a great maybe segue into this final point because we are sitting at the halfway point of the SEC schedule very conveniently with a bye week here and the big Alabama game coming up. So let's assess the team where we kind of sit at in SEC play currently. Let me give you a reminder of what has transpired. Started off the year at Georgia, lost 100-104 in overtime. Auburn was in position to win that game. Texas A&M. I'll just leave it there.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's a win. but I'm just gonna say it's listed as a loss. Arkansas, very impressive win at home against a very good Arkansas team. Missouri is not probably one of the best of the SEC, but they're no slouch either. You lose on the road there. You come back home, take care of business against a challenging South Carolina team. You beat Ole Miss, and this is where obviously Austin talked about it. You beat Ole Miss on the road. You go and knock off the defending SEC champs in Florida at their place. Hasn't been done in 30 years. You take care of business against Texas, and then you into Tennessee with a lot of, some emotional storylines with Stephen Pearl returning and all that, and you take that loss there. So you're looking at a record, if I can do the math in my head,
5-4.
5-4. Thank you for saving me and not making me look dumb. 5-4 in SEC play. I know it. I feel like we ask this thing all the time. Like, how would you grade the start to the SEC, the first half, if I had to ask you?
Well, you look at it at the surface and you're like 5-4. Good grief.
Exactly.
Like that doesn't sound good. I think you have to look at context. Oh wow, there's a fun topic a lot of you don't like. We have to look at context on what some of those are. Like you mentioned going through it, I don't think Missouri is the one that's like, ugh, golly. Just because nothing seemed to go right except the first 2 minutes of gameplay. That game, Mizzou just had it that night and Auburn didn't. And then, there's obviously the first two games, which were ended toward the very end and were very, disconcerting. But since then, I think you have to since Missouri, this Auburn team has found something in themselves more often than not and shown who they are. So I look at it as 5-4 is not great. You're 4-1 in your last 5 though. And probably the toughest part of the schedule. And so to me, that looks a lot better. And you hope that that's momentum to keep going up. Obviously we're at the halfway point, so 9 more games to go. But I think that and Auburn's schedule is certainly still tough from here on out, but I think that you have a chance to see this team continue to build on it, maybe knock some more off that maybe a lot of people don't think they should.
Absolutely. So did I get a grade from you? Like just a generic
just a letter grade?
A, B, C, D.
I'm feeling optimistic. I mean, I think on recency bias, I see where this team is going. So I'll probably put it at a B+.
I think B+ is fair. I think you could make a case. You can make a case this is an A, but people are going to have a problem with that with the way the record looks if you're just talking about emotions and things like that.
I can't get there. I can't get there quite yet, but I think a B+ is fine.
Right, but let's also factor in that one of those is a win. It's not listed as win, but again, not to go there again.
Unfortunately, it's on the 4 side, though.
It's on the other side of that situation. Okay, Kyle, stop. Yeah, so I think we are in agreement. It's a pretty solid end to this first half of the year with a lot more still to go and a lot more still on the table for Auburn. They sit somewhere in the 7-ish seed right now in a lot of people's current, positioning for March Madness, which is
should get another one
bad.
tomorrow.
Should get another one tomorrow. So we'll obviously reassess all that again throughout the season. But whether you have decided this team is not going to make the tournament or you have decided they're going to win Final Four again. I still have a lot of people ask me, do you think they can win Final Four? I'm like, whoa, just
slow down.
Slow down. Let's let this team continue to grow and get even better. I've said this one thing. A lot of you are getting onto Hod Pettiford for him not scoring the way that you built up in your head that he was going to again this year. Granted that he built that narrative himself with how he performed last year. Just ask yourself the question. You know what this team can do when they're healthy. They're all playing at their best. Imagine what happens with the Hod Pettiford starts going off. Just think about that. This team can be even better than they're showing right now. So there you go. Half the SEC done. A little bit more to go. Women's side of things, a little bit of I want to say a boring week, but there was one game with a perennial power. It went how you thought it would go.
100%.
51-81. Dawn Staley came in here, or we went to them, I think. Was that right?
Yeah. No, we were here.
Yeah. We got our tails whooped here by Dawn.
We got them whooped hard here.
Oh, listen, I can't even fault them. There's a lack of parity at times in women's basketball. It's just like the best are the best.
Yep.
And then everybody else is just trying their best to catch them on an off night, which they did last year against LSU. But that was a different regime, all that kind of stuff. So that happened this week. But the Ole Miss game is, we'd be talking about it right now with all of this storm. It got moved.
That's right. I was sitting here thinking, what happened? That's right.
Yeah, this hasn't been played yet. They have to play it on Monday in Birmingham. And so you can go to Legacy Arena and watch Auburn women's basketball play in a major arena for free, folks. So if you're in Birmingham, Austin, I know you got Birmingham folks, tell them to go out to that game.
Well, Auburn and Birmingham's never a good mix usually with how things turn out. But you do get a free game. And Ole Miss, man, bless them, and the people in Oxford, they've been hit like crazy.
Tough.
He's already played one game in Birmingham and took down a big team, another one of those not perennial, but another one of those powers in SEC and Vanderbilt. So it'll be a good game, really big game for Coach Vickers and this team to maybe get a little bit of a type of postseason feel on a neutral court and things like that. And Auburn fans can certainly make it a not neutral court, but really big game and really big opportunity for them. And like you said, the South Carolina game, that's a lot of how women's basketball, college basketball is in general. I think UConn today absolutely destroyed some poor top 25 team. And that there's just the difference in what that can be in women's college basketball. Certainly Auburn's still getting it going and trying to figure out how they can just jump up a couple spots is not quite ready for those teams, but certainly things to learn from. But big game tomorrow. And I think that could be a really exciting one. So get there if you can.
One quick note, I saw it come from the athletic department through the SID office. I think I've got this stat in my head correct. I shared it on social media. 21 of 22 opponents this season, they have held them underneath their scoring average on the year. So why am I bringing this up? That's a foundation on defense. They're holding all these teams that they faced underneath what they're currently scoring. It's like small potatoes, right? Like, it's not something that people are going to get all excited about, but strong teams are built around defense. And I believe from what I've heard from Coach Vickers, that's where he wants his foundation to be. So you're seeing a little bit of that in some, at least statistical facts coming out of that. So take that for whatever it's worth for you as you think and consider this first year under Coach Larry Vickers. Final note in basketball before we move on, because they posted it today and I'm excited about it. Jungle Village is getting hinted at that it's coming back this weekend. At least that's the implication that I think is being made there with the bye week here and no game in the middle. Alabama game coming up. Certain storylines will be so fun to have fun with this week. So you and I have known how much we have covered Jungle Village, or Pearlville as it first was called, and had the Woodstock effect. I love this. It certainly has changed. We chronicled the issues that have happened in the past with managing crowds and excitement and stuff like that. But it's always good to see that the fans, the students, get so excited for Jungle Village, and it looks like they're already building the hype for that one.
No, absolutely. I saw that today, kind of right before we got on, and certainly seems like this is the week to do it. Thank goodness they didn't have to do it this past weekend. It's always cold, but this weekend was nuts. So I hope that we'll get to see the sights and sounds from that this upcoming weekend. Have they announced game day? I'm not expecting it, but has it been announced?
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't think so. At best one we stand a chance at is that Kentucky game with the Outlive game. But certainly if you want to have some fire and energy, there is a lot of that going on. Was it announced?
We got Duke Carolina next weekend. So
come on,
it doesn't matter if we were actually having 2 good years, but it'll be a good game no matter what. So I look forward to that. And students just bundle up, bundle up. Just hang in there. It'll be a lot of fun, and
be safe.
We'll need the energy. Be safe, please. Be safe. Be orderly. We're gonna need the energy for next week. It's a big game. G League dropouts come to town.
Well said. Okay, final major topic this evening. Believe it or not, it is spring sports season. I know it is February 1st when we were recording this. It feels weird to be saying that, but we do this every year, folks. February comes around, a few of them get rolling. One of those is softball, and so we're going to spend the rest of our time here doing a softball preview for the 2026 season. We're going to try to do this in some segments for you as the best of our ability. Expectations for year 2, players you should know, non-conference and SEC games to be aware of, maybe a little bit of predictions at the end of this thing. That's what you got in store here. So let's start right at the top, Austin. We are sitting at the second year of the Coaches Malveaux era. Are you going to finally say it with me now?
No, I'm not. I will not.
The coaches Malvo begin year 2. Their first year record, for context, 32-21, 6-18 in SEC play. If I need to remind you kind of how the season went, they had an excellent non-conference performance, and then ran into the buzzsaw that is the SEC in all sports, but softball as well. But got some really surprising series wins, I think, there at times, if I remember correctly. So there's your groundwork. First year laid out there, a successful winning year, not necessarily an SEC conference play. So before we get into like players and games and stuff, Austin, what do you feel in year 2 is a reasonable expectation for Auburn softball, whatever that means to you?
Yeah, well, I think the focus has to be on improving that conference play, and that's way easier said than done. But that's where it stacks up in this league, and where you can see if your team is elite or not, especially in the SEC, especially in softball. And so there will be more than enough chances for this team, especially at home and away, to see the best of the best and how they measure up. So 6-18, I think that a lot of those came on the back half of the year. That I think it took a few series to get that first SEC win for Coach Malvo and Coach Malvo. But I think that we'll see. Maybe that come a little bit earlier this year. And this team has stockpiled some talent to help them get that. The pitching I still expect to be really good. Just need the whole unit to come together. I know we're going to go into some players here in a second, but I think it's an exciting team, an exciting roster that's pretty young.
Yeah, I think it's fair to look at last year and kind of, expect that's the goal. You improve every year. Now they set themselves a difficult task because they had a really great non-conference, which resulted in a pretty decent looking overall record. They made it to the NCAA tournament. They lost in the first round of the SEC tournament, lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament, but made it all the way to the end with Florida State in that regional play. So there's your framework. I'm just going to throw this out there, Austin. I think it would be reasonable for us to expect a higher, I don't know how to phrase this tonight. I'm struggling with phrasing things tonight. I think it's reasonable to think we could reach 50-50 in SEC play. So you've traditionally have 8 series. I think that is reasonable to think that could happen.
That doubles your SEC wins from last year.
It does double your SEC wins. I am just going to put it out there into the world, see how people think about it. I'm not saying there's any foundation for me to think about that. I'm just thinking about year 2. You've laid your foundation. If they can do that and match what they did in non-conference, we're going to have a good softball year. That's just where I'm sitting at right now.
I mean, I think, like you said, they made a regional last year and made one where they got to the regional final. Of course, it was Florida State, so we'll probably go to Clemson this year.
It's at
But if you've watched the show long enough, softball's going to Clemson one way, hell or high water. So I think that, like you said, expecting that, not necessarily seeding to get higher, but maybe you match yourself up with a possible better one of those host seeds that you feel like not that you have a chance, but that it's a little more even. But all of that comes down to conference play and how you look in that. 50-50, I think, would be, given this conference and given where they're going to play and who they're playing, would be really great. I think we'd be ecstatic. We'll see if it gets there. I think I'd just like to see them improve like 50% on their wins. Like if we can get to 9-15, I would see that as very reasonable. I don't remember the schedule right off the top of my head as far as SEC play.
For us,
Thank you. But I think that you have a chance, and let's not forget. No, I'm wrong. We're not hosting the SEC tournament, are we?
That was last year. We're hosting a bunch of SEC tournaments this year, but it's not.
I know. See, I was excited for that. But I think that this team has a big chance to make some moves. I think they've garnered players on the roster to add to the youthful talent, which is similar to the other diamond sport, that we'll get to see how they come together and if there's a little bit of a jump this year.
Yeah. I think also just expectations. You made it to the SEC tournament, obviously, in the first round. Maybe getting to the second round would be reasonable. And also, maybe maybe pushing for hosting this year, or just
Oh,
getting
boy.
into a higher situation in terms of regional
Yes,
play.
exactly.
I know I'm giving a couple lofty goals, but I think that's a fair thing to just put out there into the world. But you all make your own decisions based on our conversations here in the preview. All right, players to know. I listen. We're not going to do justice to this, and I'm not going to but we're going to give you at least a couple here to be aware of, because I know some of you are big Auburn softball fans, and some of you just kind of are getting into it in this new era. I'm going to give you a first one. Analea Adams. She's already got an All SEC honor.
Yes,
At
ma'am.
least one, if not. Did she get multiple already, or just?
I saw the one.
Okay, I thought it may have been multiple. Last year, played first base and designated player is the title in softball. Splitting time there, so an infielder essentially is how she's listed. Good bat, good infielder, very versatile. She's already got all SEC expectations. What you think? Can she meet those this year?
Well,
Year two
for her. and that's always the question on a player that comes in as a freshman and does really well. The book's out on you now. You're not sneaking up on anybody anymore, especially with these preseason accolades. I think she'll do great. I really do. I think she has the hitting mechanisms and the field play to be able to do really well in this league and continue to build upon that. But how she makes the people either in front of her, behind her in the lineup better, and the people around her better, it will probably be the question on how the whole team is elevated. So I'm excited for another year of Analea Adams, and I think she's going to have a great year.
I think so as well. Certainly the book is out on you, as you said, so you won't catch anybody by surprise, and their sophomore slumps are not unheard of. However, let's see what she can do. She's obviously got the expectations built by the All-SEC nominations that have already coming in for her. Another name you're familiar with from last year, and here again as a junior, S.J. Guerin.
Yes, ma'am.
Left-handed pitcher for Auburn, and probably your anchor of the pitching staff, I would assume so, this year from my knowledge about it going forward. So there, it gives you a little bit of two ways to look at it, batting and hitting, and then batting and fielding, and then a pitcher to know here on the staff. SJ, I think, did a solid job for Auburn last year, and so hopefully she'll be that anchor again.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I didn't know that. Yeah, no, I mean, same thing. She proved herself in the conference last year. If I remember right, she was, I think, the first commit of the Malveaux era we talked
Sounds
about.
Right.
I feel like
Oklahoma.
Yes, I feel like I remember us saying they talked about Oklahoma, or they talked about their experience in pitching.
Sure.
And she was the first commit off the bat, and it was not to be understated how much she did for Auburn last year and how much they needed her. She pitched a whole lot of innings. I think you can probably expect more of the same from her this upcoming year.
Felt bad for her sometimes, as much as I know it's common in softball for you to get reworked back into. Yeah. They're able to do that in some situations back into the game after you've left. So I hope she is rested up and ready to go, because certainly she showed she can be that bell cow and go the distance in multiple ways, whether all the way through the game or coming in and out. So there's another name for you to know, players to know. Let's talk about the schedule a little bit. If I did my math correctly here, it is always scary when I do math, though. 39 games in non-conference play. I think that's right. I feel like it should be 40, so maybe I'm missing one there. But they're never round numbers.
Well, and you never know, like some of these tournaments, it's like, oh, let's throw an extra game in there and never see what happens.
And let's be honest, there's going to be a game canceled, rained out, postponed, not be made up. And
100%.
It's what happens. It happens in baseball sometimes too, if there's a situation that's just too unmanageable. So think about that. But non-conference play, 39 games. Most of these are built in with certain classics or tournaments or showcases, however you'd like to describe them. Auburn's going to be playing in the NFCA Leadoff Classic. To me, Austin, when I look at this one, you're going to have probably comparisons for people would be the Players Era Tournament out in Vegas for men's basketball. I mean, your Notre Dame, Michigan State, Clemson, Pittsburgh, and Penn State. So a lot of big names there for you to remember. And some of the, Auburn's going to be amongst them in Clearwater, Florida, which they're very familiar playing with. And so I think that's your marquee tournament of the year, I think, for Auburn.
Well, that's what I was going to say. They're very familiar with Clearwater. It seems like we're starting the year in Clearwater every single year.
Yes,
and
I think, fall ball too.
Correct. And so they're very familiar with it. Auburn's not a stranger to going down to Clearwater and playing against big time talent. Last year is when they went down there and surprised a lot of people. Yep. And had a lot of come from behind games, and started knocking off teams that people just didn't expect Auburn in a first year to do. So like we said about Annalie Adams and S.J. Guerin, Auburn's not sneaking up on anybody this year. They know the talent's there, and certainly everybody wants to beat the SEC softball team. But that's a big marquee start to the year, and it all gets going this week.
Absolutely, it does. A couple of other tournaments that they'll be playing in. They'll be hosting the War Eagle Classic. They'll also have the Jane B. Moore Memorial. It's usually how that goes to in the middle of non-conference play there. They'll also go out to California to take part in the Mary Nutter Classic, which is going to have Oregon, UCLA, BYU, Washington as well. So another tournament.
That's a gauntlet.
Yeah. You want to tell you about the front end of that? That first tournament was a gauntlet. This one is as well. And you got to do it all the way out in California. From Clearwater, they're familiar with. California, they're not. So an opportunity for them to make some noise. And then there's various other smatterings of non-conference and regional opponents as it is in baseball. Troy's in there, North Florida's in there. And then you've also got Virginia Tech coming for a 2-game series as well, which is probably like the cap on your non-conference before you get into the small midweek games that happen during conference play right there. 39 games in non-conference play last year. They won. Excuse me. I don't have the math ready.
26-3.
Yeah. Thank you. You were just saving me with the math tonight. So 26-3. Let's just go with that and say that's what it was. Can they replicate it this year?
I think the increase in talent says no, just in some of these teams and that they'll be playing against, as well as just Auburn, like I said, just not having a little bit more of a target on their back. But I think that it'll serve them well. And so I'm going to say no. I don't know a number, Kyle. I'm going to say, let's say 22-7. No, wait. No.
That'd be 22-7, 29 games.
It was 29?
No. 39 games. Wow, math is hard for us here.
Yeah,
we have Auburn
degrees. You jinxed me that I was sitting here doing good on math. Last year was 26-3, so it was 29 games last year. So it's 39.
Did I say 39? I said 39 games, 29 games. I
was like, we're playing 10 more non-conference. Okay. Well, then I'm going to stick with what I said, 22-7.
So those of you that are screaming at the screen the entire time with Kyle said 39,
folks.
Just know if you've been here before, Kyle's bad at math. And there's case in point right there. This is why I had to switch majors. So with that in mind, you said 22-7, I think is what you liked. I'll go, just to be different, I'll do 23-6.
6. Yeah.
23-6. I did it. 23-6. All right. SEC play, 8 series to take part in. The series that you need to know about, or all of them, I'll list them for you here. At Auburn for Kentucky, at Oklahoma. You'll then go host Missouri at home, at Arkansas, home for Alabama, at Florida, home for Ole Miss, at LSU to round out the year. Doesn't matter who you're talking about. The SEC softball schedule is tough. Last year's schedule resulted in a 6-18 record. I set the precedent when our expectation discussions that I'd like to see us push at least for that 50 mark, which is going to be difficult to do. So what do you think about it? What excites you? What doesn't excite you about that SEC gauntlet?
Oh, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard. And every week will be something they'll have to be, make sure they're right for and build up to. But in year 2, I do think this team has the talent that can do it and has the talent that can make some noise and improve on just 6 wins last year.
Yeah.
Getting to 50 on the SEC year, I don't know if I can get there yet, but
it's going to be tough.
I'm going to say they get 9 or 10. So not far, but that's pushing it. Is that okay with you?
No, that's
saying pushing
improvement.
50%. Yeah,
that's improvement. I'm setting a high benchmark for people to to aim for. I'm not
Sure.
saying that I'm qualified to predict that there. So, but look, so if you think about it this way, you've got, and I think it worked out that way, eight of these series, and then equal home and away. Your home ones are Kentucky. Kentucky, I know, has always been formidable, but Auburn's been very competitive with them. Missouri.
That's where they got their first conference win, though, last year.
Thank you. Missouri, I think, should be doable. Alabama's always tough in softball, but hey, a little magic at Jane B. Moore, you never know, right? And then you've got Ole Miss. All of these teams are going to be at least decent in softball. But to me, you win your home series there, and you know, I know you got to sweep to get the 50-50 I'm talking about in that scenario, but you're
then
going to
you
get
just
a
got
game
to steal
here.
some on the road. Yeah,
you do, but maximize those ones at home. And I think we're going to, talk about an exciting SEC year for Auburn softball. So 6-18 last year. You're on the record for 9 is what
I'll say 10. I'm going to say 10. 10 and 14.
I'm going to go. I'm going to stick with my 50-50.
Oh boy.
I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with my 50-50 on that. So, 24 games, 12-12. I'm going to do it.
Good job.
just to have some excitement out there for that. All right. We enter maybe some final predictions for Auburn softball to round out our conversation here. We have discussed it individually here. Your final record last year was 32-21. The math doesn't have to work out because we know we struggle at math here, Austin, and our other discussions. Mine. Okay. All right. Go ahead. So let's start with you. Final record prediction, since you are so amped and ready to go.
I have to double check here. I think I've got us at wow, that's going to be the exact same. Yeah, 32-21.
Okay. Right? So you're matching it up?
That'd be, I said 22-7 and then 10-14. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's going to match up. But I want to preface this.
Okay.
Because of the level of talent and because of the increase in conference wins, I do think they get a better spot in hosting. I don't think they host, but I think they do get a better spot in seeding because you see all those metrics that show they're an improved team when you can win 10 games in the SEC. And that's not that record's not including what they do in the SEC tournament if they can steal 1 or 2. So I think that it might look the same exactly on paper, but I think they'll see more talent that'll provide them the opportunities to have a bigger strength of schedule as well as more conference wins and get them a little boost in seeding. And maybe they don't have to go play Clemson.
All right, help me with the math on here so I don't have to look like an idiot again.
You said 23-6. And 12-12.
Okay.
So you're at 35-18.
35-18. That's a 3-game.
That's pretty good.
That's a pretty good. Hey, I'll go 34-19. I'll go 34-19.
Okay, so you'll drop one somewhere.
I'll drop one somewhere just to give a little bit of leeway there. I'm going to be the optimist here on the record prediction. SEC tournament. How far do they make it? Just prediction, real quick.
They'll win one. They get one step closer.
I'm going to say they win one as well. Hopefully, it will not against your arch rivals and make a lot of emotion about that. Although that nearly worked out for them last year, but that'd be nice. You kind of mentioned it, but just to repeat it: hosting or no?
High 2 seed, no hosting. High 2 seed,
no hosting. High 2 seed. I'm going to go. I'll go high 2 seed with you as well.
Yeah,
and that's fine. And then how far into the NCAA tournament, making it to the end of the regional play with Florida State last year? What do you think this year?
Yeah, you know what? High 2 seed. I'm going to say they definitely get to the regional final. Toss up. I just don't know. I think it would have to depend on a lot of factors. Don't think a lot of things would have to happen, but I don't think they get to host a sub-regional. But I think this team has all the capability of getting to a sub-regional with the amount of talent they're going to play and test themselves against.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to be the optimist here again.
There you go. Look, they're
making it. They're going to the super regional. I'm
good cops and bad cops here.
Super regional for Auburn softball this year, surprising a lot of people in an exciting year 2 for the Malveaux. But hey, what do we know?
What do we know?
What do we know? Clearly, we don't do math. So that was
you can speak for yourself.
Now you struggled a little bit too, so don't act like you didn't struggle a little bit too with it. Throw me under the bus over here. All right. With that being said, that's Auburn Softball 2026 preview, and that is going to do it for episode 160 of the Auburn Experience podcast. We appreciate you all being here. If you want to keep up with us, do so. Me as well. On the E2C Network accounts, DMs are open, e2cnetwork@gmail.com. Where can they find you?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott on just about anything. And I hope everybody has a great start to their February. It's Groundhog Day tomorrow, Kyle. We getting 6 more weeks of winter or what?
Can I be honest? I kind of hope so because I want some snow.
No.
Yes.
Terrible answer.
What if you get another Auburn snowstorm?
Nope. Daycare
You do
closed.
not want to have that magical time again.
I'll take one day.
But that's fine. Okay, so one magical day.
I had
of snow,
5 last year. I'll take one day.
which wasn't magical.
No. One day.
Has nothing to do with his 2 twin boys whatsoever.
Just enough to get me out of work one day.
There you go.
And maybe daycare decides to stay open anyway.
And maybe we can traverse the roads without danger. But
just
hey,
a little bit.
I had a lot of fun last year on my little vacation.
So glad you did.
And I would love to do it again. With that being said, thank you all for joining us. Episode 160 is in the books. Before we go, I remind you, the Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, folks, there's the show. Thanks for sticking with a longer one today, but we got that softball preview, and I think we did good work there.
It's hard to believe it starts this week.
I know. It's just wild. Final thoughts for you, sir, or anything?
No, I'm good. Hope everybody has a great week. I do not want 6 more weeks of winter. I also don't believe in a little rat that comes out of the ground. So
I mean, you don't have to. He's real, but like, there's a rat that comes out of the ground, and to be honest, let me get. I'm gonna drop my zoology on you. He's not a rat.
Oh my gosh.
Technically,
what is he? Tell me what he is.
He is part of the squirrel family. Believe it or not.
Well, he don't know how the weather works.
He don't know how the weather works.
he don't know what his shadow means as far as it comes to snow or not. But it's a fun thing we do, I guess, in this country, and we provided a great movie. So
we should correlate it to like how often he sees his shadow and how often Auburn wins or loses the Iron Bowl or something like that, and see if there's any like statistics with there. And so
I'm gonna reckon it's not good,
at least recently. But
if the groundhog sees his shadow, will Auburn pay a buyout? Who knows?
There's the real question now at this point. And as he goes down into the hole, he goes, "It didn't have to be this way."
What if Auburn had, man, these are the things we should have on the show. If Auburn had their version of Groundhog Day, what would it be? If the Eagle...
Didn't we do this one year? Did we not discuss this?
No way.
I think we did.
Surely
I
not.
think we did. I think we asked what.
Well, then we've been doing the show too long. If I can't remember the topics we covered.
I think we said like,
if the Eagle flies a full circle around the stadium,
yes,
Auburn will have 6 more weeks of winter.
There we go. So I'll go back and look at I have all the flight footage. You can go see it on our YouTube channel. I'll go
chart all of it.
Chart it all. That's what we're going to do here. That's the type of content you get here at E2C Network, just not the math. So
no, that's right. You get plenty of science.
Not the math part of the science. Do you need to head out, or you want to stick around?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir, for sticking with us, and we'll
Thanks so
see you
much.
next week.
See y'all. Right. And next week, afternoon show. Yes.
Afternoon show. Thank you. I was going to discuss that with him, and thank you for clarifying that right here, right now.
No worries. No problem.
All
see
right,
everybody
thanks.
next week.
All right. Bye. All right. Obviously, we've got some scheduled stuff to talk about and catch up with some of your commentary. We'll leave a little space for Q&A. Not a long time tonight, but a little bit because we went a little bit longer on the show. So hang tight here in our reminders, and hopefully you pay attention to these types of things. These are important for your information, but also ways that you can get involved and participate in helping the show out. If you check out our description, there should be links in there or listed everywhere on social media to a link tree. It's like a mini website. It gives you ways to contact us. It gives you ways to get involved if you want to sponsor, some of you in a funny way or not. There is obviously other things too. One of the things that you can do is shopping with some of our affiliates. One of those is going to be Alumni Hall. If you shop with them through our link, if you're going to be buying Auburn stuff anyway, you might as well shop with Alumni Hall, the ultimate Tiger shopping experience, and join them and us to help support them and support us at the same time, and various other affiliates that we have as well. Here's your schedule, always tentative for the rest of the week. Live streams, tons of content throughout the week, but live stream wise, no basketball game in the middle of the week. So we get a little bit of a break, a little bit of a lull, but that means no conflict, definitely, with Auburn Family Night. Live calls, chat. You guys pick the topics, join us. Everybody start bringing all your friends and family in. Let them know that this is one of the more fun shows that we do every week. We'd love to see you there at 9 Eastern time on YouTube. And then finally, we'll be back again Saturday for post-game show. I'm having some discussions about whether or not I may make a trip to Auburn this weekend. It's really up in the air at this point, but could be a little bit of extra excitement with that if we do that. But also, as Austin talked about, we will do an afternoon show next week to not conflict with all of your Super Bowl viewings. Some of you say, I don't like the Super Bowl. It's fine, but we know that we're not going to compete with that. So we will, and then Austin wants to watch it too, I'm sure. So we will not worry about that and do that in the afternoon. So that's your reminders, all that stuff. Let's jump into a few things in the show here. He responded to this, but Zach said, I need one of those jackets that Austin was wearing. And Austin said, check your local Kohl's, Zach. Found it at a heavy discount this weekend. This is what you get here at E2C Network, shopping for Auburn gear stuff at this point. This was from WT. Says, guys, thinking about sponsoring the channel. How much would it cost for both of you to put WT rocks or rules, excuse me, or either, I guess, across your foreheads? I got a lot of forehead space, so, you know, I mean, that's going to cost you a bunch. If that. A couple of questions here came in through the show. And just as a reminder, because I saw a little bit of confusion about this, remember, folks, when we're doing this live stream on Sunday nights, it is a recording for a podcast. So we don't really interact with you guys very much during the show, but I leave a little space afterwards for us to interact, answer some questions and things like that. So if you've got any others, we can certainly do those at the end too. This is the question from War Eagle G27. Dallas Walker got his results back yet? Yes, coach talked about that. We've got the press conference up, or the Q&A up from the athletic department. If you want to just hear his words, and I would highly recommend you do that and much more. And I think we put a clip out there of it too, talking about Dallas Walker getting his eligibility to come back and play again another year. We also talked about this. You came in a little bit late. War Eagle G27. I should just say G27. Kyle's, what's your thoughts on Kieran Crawford getting a sack on Diego Pavia? Loved it. I always struggle with what are your thoughts type of questions, because obviously I'm an Auburn fan and I loved it. So if you wanted more than that, let me know. But obviously I was really excited about that. Corey asked Austin, who's going to be the MVP of the baseball team this year? So I didn't get a chance to ask Austin before he left, but our plan next week is to do the baseball preview as well. So Corey, come back with that. And we may have the answer in that already for you. Okay, so caught up in there. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Yeah, let's see here. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. If you come during the week, you can come throw rocks at me over Sanford while I'm working. No, never mind. I was going to say something mean, but I'm not going to do it now. Yeah, WT says it best. AFN, Auburn Family Night, is a fun show. It's all about engagement. It's all about you guys. You dictate what we talk about, when we talk about it, in some ways, how long we talk about it. And then, you know, I'll just put the pitch out there to you guys. You know, it always lacks a little bit in viewership this time of year, but it builds back up over football. But if you guys can, please do spread the word about it. We would love it to the point where I don't even have to, you know, talk much, and you guys get to just bring your comments up and us have calls and stuff. So keep pushing it out. Let people know that they need to be part of this show and part of this little family within the Auburn family. 3 turnovers tied the fewest ever for Auburn team. Last time was against Indiana, and I think you wrote this earlier in 2023. I didn't realize it was that quick, you know, between the two, but impressive nonetheless. All right. That's the show, folks. That's the Q&A. I got to run. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you all are staying warm, staying well, and happy 170 years of Auburn being in our lives, for those of us that lived that long, I guess. For those of you that celebrated however long it is in the 170 years. Thank you guys again. I'll remind you one more time, the Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.